The Sonos Arc, 2 Gen 3 Sonos Subs, and 2 Sonos Fives. This is the most expensive and most extensive Sonos Arc surround system that you can currently build. If you were to buy everything brand new at retail prices, it would cost approximately $3,200. Is it practical for most people? Absolutely not. But is it awesome? Well, absolutely. Let's talk about it. What's up guys, Jonah Mathis here. So I've done quite a few videos on different Sonos products. Individual reviews on the Sonos Arc Soundbar, the Gen 3 Sonos Sub, the One SL, a video on dual subs, and a video on the full surround sound Sonos Arc system. So you can say that I'm kind of a fan of Sonos's products. Overall, I think they make outstanding audio products. Not the cheapest out there, but definitely still really good. In this video, we're gonna go over the ultimate top of the line Sonos surround sound system available right now. Again, that's the Sonos Arc Soundbar, 2 Gen 3 Sonos Subs, and 2 Sonos Fives. It's absolutely insane. I spent a lot of time and definitely a lot of money to make this video, so I'd appreciate it if you guys would smash that like button. Now before I get into this ridiculous system, I want to explain a little bit more about the Sonos ecosystem compared to a lot of other soundbar systems out there. This may help a little bit with the price justification. Almost all soundbar systems are fixed packages. Now what I mean by this is that when you buy a soundbar system that comes with a subwoofer and even some surround speakers, you're kind of locked into that system. You typically can't add or upgrade the subwoofer or upgrade the surround speakers. You're kind of stuck with what you have unless you buy an entirely new system. And you typically can't use those components elsewhere if you're actually able to upgrade things. With Sonos, it's a lot different. You can use basically any of their speakers by themselves except for the subwoofer, or integrate them into a home theater setup. So I could use my Sonos Arc Soundbar by itself for as long as I want to. Then if I decide I want to add surround speakers to it, I can choose between the Sonos One SLs, Fives, or buy a used set of basically any other Sonos speaker out there. Let's say I have 2 Sonos One SLs that I'm using as surrounds with the Sonos Arc. I can easily change out the One SLs to Sonos Fives, then take those One SLs and use them by themselves in any other area of my home. That's the beauty of Sonos. You can't really do this with other systems. The only other affordable manufacturer that has a setup like this is Yamaha with their MusicCast system. It's very similar to Sonos, but also a little different. I plan on doing a pretty in-depth comparison of Sonos and Yamaha's MusicCast in the near future, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if that's something that interests you. Anyways, this is one of the biggest pros when it comes to Sonos. You're able to upgrade components and use the older components in other places inside your home. Plus, it's all wireless and works very well. That's why I'm a big fan. So we've had the Sonos Arc, 2 Gen 3 Subs, and 2 One SLs in our living room for quite a while now. Basically 5 months minus times that I was testing other soundbar systems. I'm pretty familiar with how the system sounds and how it compares to other high-end systems at this point. It's really, really good. Better low-end than basically any other soundbar system that I've listened to. Pretty good 3D effects, strong front soundstage, and more. I'm very happy with this setup. Is it practical for most people? Well, I don't think so, but I know a lot of people have the exact same setup. I was curious to see how much better it might sound by adding in 2 Sonos Fives. There's a pretty substantial size and price difference between the One SL and the Five. One SLs are $179 each and the Fives are $499 each. So when you're buying 2 of them, that's a $640 difference. Is it worth it? Well, that's a hard question to answer. Now at first, I didn't think there'd be a massive difference between using One SLs as surrounds and using Fives as surrounds, but boy was I wrong. The Fives output some big sound. It makes the ones seem tiny and weak, which in comparison, they kind of are. What's even more weird is that it almost makes the Sonos Arc sound weak when it's certainly not. So in my living room, obviously the Sonos Arc is located up front, right underneath the TV. Then there's 2 Subs and 2 Fives located in the rear of the room. The Fives are about 2.5 feet from the couch, and the Subs are on the ground kind of behind the couch. The rear of the room is very powerful compared to the front. It would probably be good to put 1 sub in the front and 1 sub in the back diagonally from each other if that's possible. That would kind of even out the low end of the system just a little bit. And ideally, you want the Fives at least a few feet from the main seating area. Too close is not good because they're very powerful and you want the sound to have a chance to spread out just a little bit more. Unfortunately, we really don't have that in our space, so I create a little more distance by putting them on stands and kind of placing them more off to the sides. In terms of sound quality, this setup is just astonishing. The overall clarity, specifically in the mid-range and lower end on the Fives, is miles better than the One SLs. Like, the One SLs are pretty good, but it's legitimately a night and day difference. This is definitely due to the Sonos Fives having a total of 6 speaker drivers instead of just 2. The Subs do a very good job of producing the low-end frequencies, and the Fives help supplement that beautifully. There's just so much more clarity and weight behind the sound of the Fives compared to the One SLs. I really can't express the difference there is. When I was watching Avengers Infinity War and John Wick 2 with Dolby True HD audio, I was blown away with how immersive it felt. I can physically feel the rumble from gunshots, fights, and explosions, but it's not just a rumble. I can hear these things and isolate the sounds much better than before. I enjoyed listening to the system so much that I got a little too carried away when doing my testing. Overall, it's just an absolute joy to experience. The Fives, when placed horizontally, produce sound to a much wider area, which in turn fills the space with even more audio. It does such a good job at this that it feels like there's 2 sets of One SLs behind me on each side with a little more bass behind them. The wider area of audio is likely due to the 2 angled tweeters inside the speaker enclosure and them just being, that much larger. The sound is rich, clear, slightly on the bright end, but a majority of people really won't notice it much. All of the components seem to just perfectly balance each other. Now, everything I just said in regards to sound was when watching movies or TV. Listening to music, though, is just on a whole nother level. I've said this many times, but I'm not the biggest listener of music. But this system really makes me enjoy music. It sounds completely different from anything that I've ever experienced. Streaming music through Spotify Connect, which isn't a very high quality audio source by the way, just sounds incredible. Again, everything is just so well balanced. I have the surround set to full mode when listening to music so that they're playing exactly as a stereo set of speakers would. The low end is handled extremely well like always because of the fantastic subwoofers, but the mid-range and higher frequencies are just clear and crisp. No muffled sound or tinniness, again slightly on the bright end, but so powerful and immersive that I feel like 99% of the people out there would have no complaints whatsoever. It's just all around amazing, and I was completely blown away. Now that I've discussed my thoughts on sound quality, I want to address something that I see frequently in the comments. I don't provide sound or audio demos for a reason, because they're kind of a waste of my time and your time. There's absolutely no way I could record audio in my room and someone else listen to it on their device with any sense of accuracy. Even if you were listening on a pair of like $500 hi-fi headphones, which let's be honest, most people are listening through their phone speakers or Bluetooth headphones of some sort. Yes, I'm talking to you. It still will not sound close to what it sounds like in my room. There's too many factors to consider here, so it's best to just not include them at all. And I know that sucks because it would be great to get a sense of what the systems that I review actually sound like. Unfortunately, the only way for someone to effectively experience a system is to actually buy the system and test it in your own space. If you don't like it, then just simply return it. I just wanted to cover that really quickly, so thank you guys for understanding. Now for my overall thoughts on this system. $3,200 is a lot of money. Even if you spread out the purchases over several months or years, it's just very difficult to justify the cost unless you really love Sonos or don't really have many other options. If you just absolutely love how Sonos speakers sound, you're very much ingrained into their ecosystem, and you have some money to blow, then go for it. But the average person looking for an outstanding surround sound system should not go for something like this. It's just not worth it in my opinion. If you're looking to spend this kind of money on a system, then I would invest in getting speaker cables run for your room. Then you can build out a traditional surround sound system with an AV receiver and separate speakers. It'd be a much smarter decision in my opinion, and I think a lot of people are going to agree with me here. Regardless, this is definitely as close as you could possibly get to a traditional surround sound setup with Sonos speakers without using a Sonos amp. Yes, it's a lot more expensive than what you could build a traditional system for, but for a smaller set of people, this is one of the best wireless setups that someone could ever have, at least as of right now. So after saying all of that, who is this system really for? Like, who legitimately should think about getting a Sonos system like this? Well, first off, you need a very large budget for a speaker system. And secondly, if there's just no way you can actually get speaker cable ran for your room and you want the best and easiest to set up wireless surround sound system possible, then it's a fantastic option. You definitely need a fairly large room for this setup as well. Don't put this in a 12 by 12 room. You're gonna need some space. Our living room feels a little too small for this system because we don't have any room behind our couch for the Sonos Fives. I may keep it this way, but I'm not really sure yet. Now, personally, I think it's a little more worth it if you were to just get a single Sonos sub instead of two. This will save you about $700, making the total $2,500 instead of $3,200. Yes, having two subs is really nice, especially if you like bass, but I think you can get away with just having one. Again, I thoroughly enjoyed testing this system, and I hope I was able to ease some concerns that any future buyers may have. And I'm curious, does anyone actually have this setup? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. I appreciate you watching to the end of the video. If you haven't already, follow me on Instagram at jonahmathis_YT and like the video if you haven't already as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.